Welcome to another Steeler Thoughts and Chief Feelings film review. This review will be of the Steelers' 13-7 Week 2 victory in Denver. Earlier this week, we posted a film review of the Chiefs-Bengals game from Week 2. We also have a podcast where Chris and I recap Week 2 and look ahead to the Chiefs and Steelers matchups in Week 3. But let's get to this video. We've got several plays here that we're going to break down, plays that we found either interesting, impactful, or both. So let's get started with a play from the first drive of the game. This is Denver with the ball. And they are coming out here in 21 personnel. So that means they've got two running backs and one tight end. This is Adam Troutman over here. And the Steelers, as we've talked about in previous videos, they kind of alternate between having 2 and 3 interior linemen, and then they usually have their 2 edge rushers on the outside. So they kind of have 5 on the line of scrimmage. They've got their 3 interior linemen, and they get 4 defensive backs, and they have the 2 linebackers. So it really is, most teams will run their base with 4 defensive linemen, 3 linebackers, or 3 defensive linemen and 4 linebackers. But the Steelers tend to like to have this base formation where they have essentially 5 on the line. TJ Watt and Alex Highsmith, you can kind of debate whether you want to consider them outside linebackers or defensive ends, but in either case, they're edges, they're pass rushers. So in this case, we'll kind of consider them defensive linemen. So you'll have these 2 and the 3 in between. So instead of adding an extra linebacker when they go into base, it's almost like they add an extra lineman. They bring in an interior defensive lineman instead of going with the 2 and 2. They'll have the 3 and 2. They do occasionally run like a 2 and 2, and then they add Peyton Wilson on the field. So right now their linebackers are Patrick Queen and Landon Roberts. So they do have a little more of a traditional base, but the Steelers seem to like to do this a lot when they're encountering rundowns, get that kind of 5-2 look essentially. Well, so what's going to happen on this play is that the Broncos are going to try to run a stretch play to the right. And they've got the fullback lead blocking. And they actually bring the tight end in motion to try to come around and seal the edge. And, well, let's just run it through once and see how it goes. Here comes the tight end across. You can see the tight end is moving out to try to seal the edge. The fullback is lead blocking. And the running back is going to run a stretch. And as you can see, it didn't go well. The Steelers defense completely swallowed this play up. And let's get into the details of what actually happened. The first thing I want to direct your attention to is the defender that is tasked with setting the edge is TJ Watt over here. The player that is tasked with blocking TJ Watt is this gentleman who, number 84, according to the Denver Broncos roster, is Lil Jordan Humphrey, who is a practice squad wide receiver. So just, football 101, if you're going to run at TJ Watt to the side where he is going to set the edge, don't have the person assigned to block him be a practice squad wide receiver. I mean, you really want him blocked by an offensive lineman, or at the very least, a blocking tight end, which I think you'll lose that matchup too. But if you have a wide receiver blocking TJ Watt and that's your plan for setting the edge, your plan's going to fail. If you have a practice squad elevation wide receiver that is going to block TJ Watt and trying to prevent him from setting the edge, I don't know what to tell you. So let's just watch this. Look at where it's, the line of scrimmage looks like just between the 32 and 33 yard line. So let's go back now and watch these two and see where they end up. So TJ Watt is about 3 yards into the backfield, and the fullback comes in and tries to help lead block, but this play is ruined. If your defender that's setting the edge has moved essentially the line of scrimmage on this side back 3 yards, this running back has nowhere to go in this direction. And what that does is it allows pursuit. Look at Alex Highsmith, who is all the way on the other side of the field. He's kind of the contained defender. Look, he's able to come all the way in and be involved in the play because the edge has been completely set on the defensive side. There's nowhere to go on that side. The only hope that the running back has is some kind of cutback. This is, Sean Payton is an offensive coach. This play is doomed to fail. I feel like this may be something that you get when you have a rookie quarterback. I would imagine a veteran quarterback in this situation is looking at the way that everything's lined up and they're wait, our plan is to have Lil Jordan block TJ Watt. Let's check into something else. Because there's no way that this play is going to succeed. And we haven't even gotten to Patrick Queen. Let's watch Patrick Queen on this play. Watch him completely knife through and set aside the center who's trying to come out and block him on the second level. So the center is coming out and trying to block him, and watch him slip this block. Whoop, right around, gets right into the backfield. So this prevents, TJ Watt has set the edge here. Just in case there was any hope of him turning him upfield, Patrick Queen has eliminated that by slipping a block and getting into the backfield. And then Highsmith comes in from the back and is there to help clean up too. This is just utter domination by the Steelers defense. There's absolutely no chance for this to work. The other thing that I want to bring note to is Hayward and Benton do a great job of holding the fort too. Look, they're not getting pushed back at all, maintaining the line of scrimmage. Eventually get set back at most by a yard or so. So these guys also are not giving up any ground. Ogunjobi over here gives up minimal, but the interior line remains stout here, and the linebackers just fly in to make the play. But really what makes this play is TJ Watt, and this play, like I said, is just doomed to fail. This is not what you want when you're trying to run a successful play offensively. That can't be the plan, that we're going to have Lil Jordan Humphrey set our edge against TJ Watt. We can see it a little better from here. Here is where this play goes awry. TJ Watt, look how the running back has absolutely no place to go. He's trying to stretch this. The goal here is to challenge the edge, right? To challenge the sideline, and you want to get the defense flowing hard enough that one of two things is to happen, right? You either challenge the sideline and they're so slow that you get around the edge, or you challenge the sideline and get the defense to flow hard enough that you get some kind of cutback lane, so you're coming, and you find some place to cut through when the defense over pursues. The primary thing that has to happen here is you have to keep this guy out of the backfield so you can at least challenge the edge. And TJ Watt just completely ruins that. Look, this running back's got nowhere to go, and we saw Patrick Queen having slipped his block. It's actually kind of fun to watch. Watch him make the center look silly here. Whoop, right around him. And then Highsmith coming from the back. This play has no chance whatsoever. And just for some added comedy, we can watch Adam Troutman, the tight end, coming and trying to block a Landon Roberts. If you just want to see one more whiff block right here. Whoop, hops right around the block attempt. Nothing was going right for Denver on this play, and the Steelers stopped him for a loss. All right, we're now on the fourth drive of the game. So the first three drives have all been 3-and-outs, and the Steelers were on the third play of the Steelers drive, and they've got a 3rd and 5. So you can see them here. The ball is right around the 27-yard line, and you can actually see the first down marker up here. So they're trying to get to the 32-yard line. And let's see what the Steelers do here. It looks like they're in 11 personnel. We've got the one running back, the one tight end, gives us 1-1, gives us 11. And Denver is clearly showing a blitz, and they're showing like a cover one blitz. So it looks like they're showing man, 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 man. And they've got these 6 guys up on the line. So, you know, when you've got cover one in this situation, they've accounted for 1, 2, 3, 4, but there's a 5th eligible receiver here. So you imagine somebody is probably responsible for him if he comes out for a pass pattern. And then you've got this guy who's deep, and then you're going to have your 1, 2, 3, 4 pass rushers. And so basically with these 2 linebackers, one person is going to be responsible for the running back. One person could play like a robber zone or could blitz. As it so happens, the running back in this case stays in to pass protect. So whoever is responsible for the running back could blitz as well. So in theory, they're kind of showing you that 6 people could be coming. Let's run the tape on what happened. So remember, it's 3rd and 5 here. The Steelers end up running a couple routes up to the sticks, right? This is not very complicated. They're coming up. Pickens is coming, make himself available. Austin's making himself available. They're just kind of running up to the sticks and making themselves available. Pretty simple route combination, and they complete a pass to Pickens. This to me is another one of those plays where it's like, Denver, what are you doing? So let's start with just the basic concept of like, look at how far off this coverage is. The Steelers are in 3rd and 5. They basically, you know, you've got to try to prevent them from getting to the sticks, right? Look at, they snap the ball here, and I want you to just watch these 2 defensive backs. Look at where this, look at this. He's back at the 37-yard line. Pickens needs to get to the 32. I mean, this is as easy as you can have it on a 3rd and 5. Like, what is the coverage goal here? Like, I don't understand. I mean, this is what you want to prevent, right? You want to prevent them from getting that first down. I'm not really clear on why we've got people playing off coverage in the middle of the field. I mean, they're playing tight on the outsides. And moreover, the Broncos are blitzing. They end up only sending 5. So this guy kind of comes to try to mess with their protections, but it's really 1, 2, 3, 4, and then the edge off the edge. He kind of drops back. Right? So they're sending 5, and they're trying to confuse the protections to try to get somebody free or get pressure on Justin Fields. And they actually do get some decent pressure on Fields. But that, to me, makes it more imperative. Like, if you're blitzing, you're expecting a quick throw. Why are you playing this far off coverage on the best receiver on the team when it's 3rd and 5? Some of the coaching decisions in this game, I just don't understand. Like, this is basically giving Justin Fields an easy, free first down. Like, the first guy who he's going to look at when he's got a gotta-have-it play has a defender that's 5 yards off of him, and he's standing wide open at the first down marker. I mean, this is easy. I really don't understand the goal here. I don't understand what Denver's trying to do. Normally, if you're blitzing, you're expecting quick routes, you're expecting something that you want to jump on. You know, you're more likely to try to get somebody underneath or try to get somebody sticking to the receiver, because if you jam him, maybe you can knock him off of his timing enough to result in a sack. If you can get Fields to hold this ball, because nothing is easy when he takes a 3-step drop, then you might get a sack on a blitz. Why would you give him the easy throw to start? I don't understand this play at all. But very easy first down for the Steelers, and they finally get the first drive of the game that's not a 3-and-out. And you can see the blitz here from this perspective. So again, they're showing you at the line that it's possible that all 6 of these guys could come, right? What ends up happening is this guy drops back. Why he's here now is to try to confuse the protection, make somebody think that they have to account for him. But they do send 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So let's watch it from Fields' perspective. Here they go. And look, I mean, Pickens was so open. Look at Fields. Watch the time he's spending here. Drop back, hit the back, get it out. Look how open he is. I mean, what are you doing? I don't understand this whatsoever. I mean, this couldn't have been how they drew it up defensively, right? I don't know. I don't understand that. Well, it's a very easy first down for Fields, and they keep the drive going. And we'll pick up now on the next play. So Pickens has just got his first down. We're still in the Steelers' drive here after getting the first down of the game. They then got first down at the 40-yard line. And, you know, we talked about how I didn't really understand what the Broncos were doing with their blitz and what their coverage plan was behind the blitz. But one thing that seems consistent here from the early plays in this game is that the Broncos did want to blitz Justin Fields. This here is a cover 0 look. So we've got man across the board, and there is no safety in the middle of the field. So basically, in this situation, everybody here is usually coming. You know, maybe they'll drop somebody underneath, but nobody's deep. So they're basically saying, hey, we're coming after you, and let's see what you got. So the Steelers' solution to this is they're going to slide their line to the left. So everyone is going to block over to their left. And what that does is it leaves this fellow here unblocked. He's coming off the edge unblocked. That's something that they should know in their protection. So the bet here is basically we've got to get this ball out before he gets to the quarterback because we know he's coming free. And, you know, you always want the free person, if there's going to have to be one, to be the person that is on the outside because they have the farthest path to the quarterback. So what happens? The Steelers, Fields drops back. They've got a couple, so it looks like they've got more of like a clear out route over here. Pickens is running a slant. Washington, this looks like a stick route where Washington comes and he can either curl or come out depending on the coverage. We've got another slant over here. And Jefferson runs a curl on the outside. So basically you've got like big man curl, Jefferson curl, across the middle, up here. My preference in this situation, just personal preference here, is Pickens sticks his foot in the ground here, and I feel like you throw the slant to Pickens right there. This is one of the best, as far as skills, one of the best yards after the catch guys in the league. I think he might have actually led the league in yards after the catch, or he was close to the top last year. If you are able now the one thing you want to consider is this blitz is coming to his ball hand side. So, or this is not a blitz, but the rusher is coming to his ball hand side. So you really can't risk him getting too close to you, otherwise he could strip this out. It's different if he were coming from this side. So there's that consideration. But I do feel like when Pickens sticks his foot in the ground right there, if you put this ball on him, if he's able to get by here, like this might be 6. There's no safety in the middle of the field. We've seen Pickens do this before last year. And you look at if he had the ball in his hand at this point, I like his chances of getting to the end zone. Fields doesn't love it. It does look like that's what he's looking at, and we can see it a little more from the end zone view, but it looks like he is looking over here. But ultimately, he makes a good decision. I said my preference would be throw to Pickens, but this is a perfectly fine decision too. Fields is athletic. The one thing about teams that are manning up is that they're not looking at the quarterback, right? Everybody is looking at the guy that they're guarding. So if the quarterback's able to get free, he'll have the ability to go. And Fields is able to get free, and he runs down the sideline for a 16-yard gain. I mean, it's a real benefit of having a very athletic quarterback. Look at the secondary, right? Nobody has eyes on Fields, right? They're all guarding their men. So as long as you can get past the first wave, you can get a big gain, and he ends up with 16 yards. This is a perfectly reasonable decision, a good decision to make as a quarterback. Don't throw anything stupid. And one might argue that Fields, and part of it is, I think, the time, because at this point, this ball can come out, and depending on his time to release, if the timing is down, I think this is possible, but maybe he just felt like, look, this guy's coming to my ball hand side. Like, we would have thought this was ridiculous if he had gotten stripped while trying to throw this ball. It would have been like, why are you doing that? Why are you turning the ball over? So you know what? Safe play, athletic quarterback, get you 16 yards. One thing I do want to credit the Steelers receivers with, too, is, Pickens runs a slant, and at this point, as Fields is scrambling, it looks like he's in some way prepared for that, because look at him take his route up the field. And what's that doing? Drawing defenders away from Fields so that to make sure this guy has no chance of making a play, right? Fields is not even at the line of scrimmage at this point, and they've gotten the defender so far down the field. So all in all, a good play from the Steelers and a big gain, and shows a real benefit of having an athletic quarterback. And so you can see here, everybody that's on the line here, all of these guys are coming. And so you've got 6. The Steelers only have 5 to block 6 because they're an empty. So like we said before, shifting the line to the left. We're just going to block these guys. We got to let one of the end guys go free. So you, my friend, get to run free. And Fields has just got to get the ball off. So the question here is when Pickens is going to flash, which looks like he's already come through his cut. So maybe somewhere around here, I might argue he really has the room to make that throw. I would have loved, that could have been a real big play. But this is okay too. And I guess we were speculating it really does look like he's looking at Fields, right? At Pickens, right? Because the boundary route was way down, so he must be looking at the slant. Yeah, it definitely looks like it. But hey, if you can do this, more power to you. 16-yard gain. Didn't risk a turnover. First down Steelers. All right, well, we're still on the same drive, which tells you a couple of things. One is that I am very interested in how Fields was able to navigate this opening script and what it says about Arthur Smith and Fields, how much are they going to be able to continually design plays that Fields can succeed in? Because it seems clear, if you watch the film review from week 1 against the Falcons, like Fields has a lot of tools, and we've even seen, we've seen the running on a previous play. We're going to see some of his passing tools on this play here. He's got a lot of tools, and the question has always been, can he play the complete quarterback position? And that's a moving target as far as a definition, right? Can he work in an offensive system effectively? And the question is, can an offensive system be designed for him that he can run that has sufficient complexity to be sustainable in the NFL? Because he can run simple plays and he's got a great arm. As they add layers to it, will he continue to grow within this? Because it seemed like when things got kind of out of structure, he can, improvise, but can he maintain or find a way to play within structure even when things don't look perfect as far as how the offense is supposed to run? Or when he breaks structure, can he do it in a more controlled way that doesn't have so much volatility? So the reason why I'm saying all this is it feels like Arthur Smith, through 2 games, has done a good job of designing plays that Fields is able to run. And the question now is, how sustainable is this? And when the Steelers are going to eventually need to expand, can they expand in a way? Can Fields handle that expansion? And my hope is yes, because this would be really fun to watch. And he really does seem like he has a high ceiling if they're able to get him there. Anyway, enough of me justifying showing a ton of plays from the Steelers' early script, but let's look at this one. This is a first down at the 18-yard line. We've just had a nice 11-yard run by Jaylen Warren, and the Steelers are really threatening to score after the first 3 drives of the game went 3 and out. And the Steelers here are in 13 personnel, which means there's 1 running back, and the 3 is for 3 tight ends. 1, 2, and this is Freiermuth right here, 3. So they only have 1 wide receiver. This is a formation that signals run to the defense, right? You see 3 tight ends and only 1 wide receiver. You think this is probably going to be a run play. And Arthur Smith helps convince you of this by running play action. So watch here as Fields comes back and fakes this handoff, and look at where all the under these, so sorry, that circle job wasn't the best, but look at where particularly the linebacker here, and everyone here is just firing off the ball, right? And this underneath linebacker, who ultimately looks like he may have been responsible for dropping back for Freiermuth, he also comes in. So this is another way that, you use what the defense is expecting. You set up a situation where you have a fairly simple situation for Fields. Fields is now, the pocket's moving. They've faked a handoff. He's moving to his left. And he's got 3 receivers that are essentially going to his left. This guy is running toward the pylon. This guy's coming across, and Freiermuth is coming across. So you've got different guys at different levels, and you just have to see who's going to come open. From Fields' perspective, rolling to his left, the guy that'll come into his vantage point will be easiest to throw to is the guy that's coming shallow over here to the left. So it's probably the reads are 1, 2, and then last ditch is when he makes his way, gets over there. Because even though he is open right here, this is a very hard throw to make, right? You're not even looking over there. You're running to your left and trying to throw back across your body to your right. Probably not what Arthur Smith is looking for. In any case, nice play design, right? Fake the handoff, suck in the linebacker, and then they kind of try to belatedly drop to cover, but Freiermuth is able to get past. We can kind of watch it fully because I want you to see Fields' throw here. He comes over and he's able to put a nice level of touch on it and just drop that throw in. That's a nice high-level throw, especially from a guy that we've talked on these videos a little bit about arm strength when we're talking about the quality of his throws. But look at this. He just pops it over, running to his left. Great throw to Freiermuth for the first down. That is good stuff. And again, Fields just continues to impress me on a lot of these plays. Let's see the play action again here. And really, pay attention to this middle linebacker and how far he ends up coming up before he tries to drop. And Fields has it. Look at that throw. That's a nice throw. If Fields can continue to be put in these positions, perfect pass, nice first down, and then really putting the Steelers in a good position to try to score a touchdown. What a surprise. Still on the same drive. The Steelers now are at 3rd and goal at the 5-yard line, so we've got a gotta-have-it play here. And they are in 12 personnel. 12 personnel, 1-2, 1 running back, 2 tight ends. And they've got the 2 wide receivers over here. And the Broncos' answer to this is they are manned up here. So we've got a man-to-man, man-to-man. They have 6 people on the line, so they're showing a potential blitz here. He looks like he's responsible for Warren. Man-to-man, man-to-man. So you could have anywhere from 4 to 6 people come. You might have some people drop back in zones, or maybe you're looking at a blitz here. And the Steelers kind of run a route combination here. They're going to get Darnell Washington, who's split out wide, to kind of come and do like a little bit of a goal line fade. Here we've got an out route. So they run this route combination on the left side. And since there's a potential for a blitz here, which everybody does come, this is just a quick 3-step drop read for Fields. So he's really just kind of going to his first read. And it's a good design by Arthur Smith because Darnell Washington is huge. So he's going to have him run a goal line fade and have Fields just throw it back shoulder to him. And it's a good throw. It's nice, like single read, easy play. Get your big guy, have him box out, touchdown. One thing I do want to say is, on one hand, I think this is really nice. This is nice from Arthur Smith, right? Like, make it easy for Fields again. Give a concept that's easily done and a target that it makes sense to throw it to. The one thing I'll say that from the Broncos defender's perspective, when you've got a guy coming up and running a fade here trying to get outside, as the corner, you want to try to squeeze him to the sideline as much as possible, make him run out of room. And I understand when you have a monster like Darnell Washington, like you probably are not a huge fan of contact, but as far as like how this is done, I would draw your attention to Pickens and Surtain here. And watch Surtain about how he kind of stays inside and makes it difficult for Pickens to get anywhere vertically. Anything Pickens does to get vertical is being done toward the sideline. He's not giving up ground and allowing him to get up the field. He's making Pickens work hard for it and run out of real estate the more he goes up. And then I want you to contrast that over on this side and look at Washington, who's able to get up the field fairly unencumbered. And look at the room. This is all room where only Washington could catch the ball, right? So you want to make this throw hard. Right now, Fields is throwing into a pretty massive window right there, right? So as a corner, when you're guarding him, you really want to try to press him to the sideline as much as possible. This is just too easy, right? There's a huge window for Fields to throw that ball, and he gets it in there for a touchdown. I saw a quote saying that, after this, they're considering using, Fields said it, I believe, the coaching staff is considering using Washington more in this role, and I get it. It makes sense. Big guy, tough to guard. It's usually going to be a linebacker on him, someone who's not as accustomed to this kind of coverage. And he's tough to move. Not that they really attempted to. Here's another angle you can see how much room Washington had toward the sideline, right? This was a pretty, this is after he's already thrown the ball, so we've already lost some of that. But if you look over to the sideline, this was a big window. Sideline's over here. Washington is here. That's going to be a touchdown every time if you give up this kind of position as a defender. Like, that's just too easy for the quarterback, and Fields does a great job of taking it and scoring a touchdown. Steelers go up 7-0. Here we are a little later in the game, and the Steelers are still up 7-0 here with the ball. They're facing a 2nd and 18, and they are in that position because they've had a holding call on Broderick Jones a couple plays earlier, got him into 1st and 20, and then just had a 2-yard run from Jalen Warren. So 2nd and 18, they come out in 11 personnel, 1 running back, 1 tight end, gets you 11 personnel, and they have 3 wide receivers. And the Broncos look to be in a cover 2 look. They've got 2 safeties back here. They're showing cover 2, but ultimately this safety ends up kind of driving on an underneath route. So they're really kind of more in a cover 1 look with this guy being the deep safety. What the Steelers end up doing is they run like curl routes across the board. Everybody kind of curls, and this guy, the robber, ends up driving on Pat Freiermuth's curl. And then he drops back to be the single high safety. So let's watch this in action. Here comes everybody with their curl routes, right? And you can see this safety is driving, coming down. So this becomes our one single high safety. And Fields, Broderick's being walked back a little bit. And my kind of one critique of Fields on this play is he's actually got like some room right here to go through. I guess that would be the B gap, the gap between the guard and the tackle. So if he wanted to move, kind of the ideal would be to kind of step through the pocket here, and then you can challenge either with your running, or you could, your movement hopefully could bring, we saw this with the Chiefs film review yesterday, could bring linebackers up and open a void for somebody underneath. Instead, Fields decides to escape around, which he's athletic enough to do, but it makes it a little tough on your lineman because, Jones is here trying to prevent you from coming in. And as a player is coming into your chest, you are able to kind of grab their pads, right, to try to block them. But the moment then they try to disengage, if you're holding their pads and you pull off, they try to pull off of you, the refs often call that a flag if you don't disengage immediately. It's kind of hard for us to tell from this vantage point what Jones did, but it doesn't look like he did a lot. But he did something that led this flag to be thrown. I don't know if maybe his right hand was in the pads or something. But he does seem to have disengaged really quickly. From the time it took, it seems like it was pretty quick when he disengaged. So kind of surprised a flag was thrown there, but I don't know what the ref saw. In the meantime, George Pickens makes a great play here. He is curling and sees Fields escape and has a good instinct to just turn this upfield. And we've said this safety came down, so there's only a single high guy, so he's got a long way to get to that sideline. So Pickens turns it upfield, and Fields throws a dot. A great throw to hit him. Unfortunately, the play would come back because of the holding penalty, but let's get a little more into, so ideally here, to make life easy for your tackle, you step up this way. You step up that way, then you don't have the issue of your defender trying to disengage and the tackle not knowing it, because he can't predict where you're going. He's not expecting you to come out that way. Man, there doesn't seem to be a lot there. I don't know. That doesn't look like a hold to me. He's off of him so quickly. Watching this, let's play it in real time. I don't know. The ref's right there. I don't know. Maybe he saw something. My only thought is, if we look at because we can't see Broderick's right arm going to the front, so it's possible maybe he had his shoulder pads hooked or something in his arm, but his hand comes off so quickly. It's like right when he realizes he comes off. I don't know. But you see the officials looking right at it. Maybe he grabbed his shoulder. That's the only thing I could think of. Otherwise, that seems like hard to call a hold there. But look at this throw. This throw is beautiful. This is what we keep talking about with his arm talent. This is an out of structure play, right? He gets out, and I just think it makes your lineman's job easier when you come up through the pocket, especially when you have that kind of lane. And ideally then, you can use your movement to bring people up and throw over the top, which I think should be in Fields' repertoire, hopefully. But look at him throw on the run there. Ooh, beautiful throw. This guy's got some real talent. I continue to hold it. It's just hard for me to believe that Russell Wilson will be better than Fields in this situation. I just don't know that I expect Russell Wilson to play better than how Fields is playing when he's at his best and kind of looking at what he's, believing what he's seeing. And maybe it's just not feasible to continually have Arthur Reed scheme stuff up for him like this, but I don't know. If this could work, I think this feels like it has way more potential than playing Russell Wilson to me. We're nearing the end of the second quarter. At this point, the Steelers are still up 7-0, and they're facing a 3rd and 4 right around the 50-yard line. So what we've got now for the Steelers, we're in 11 personnel again, with 1 running back, and Freiermuth is the tight end. And the Broncos look to be in a cover 1 with a deep safety, and they seem to be manned up across the board. It looks like he's responsible for the running back. Man, and he looks like he's kind of the underneath defender. So the Steelers are going to run this route concept. They're going to run a slant flat. So we've got Van Jefferson running the slant and Pickens running the flat. And as you'll see, they kind of try to get a little rub concept with him running the slant. He's going to try to interfere. I shouldn't use the word interfere because it's associated with a penalty, but he's trying to disrupt the path of this defender to hopefully get Pickens open. On this side, they run dual outs. And here's what Fields does with it. So the 3rd and 4 comes back, throw on a line, first down to Austin. And I think, first of all, just really good throw, right? Like this is on a line. But the other reason why I think this play is interesting is, the real like kind of play design part of it is all down here, right? And your go-to guy is down here, right? Pickens. So this kind of looks like it is a play designed to get George Pickens open. Here's the rub concept we're talking about here. As Jefferson comes in for the slant, he's trying to get in the way of this defender to allow Pickens a chance to get open. He does a good job of not drawing offensive pass interference, right? You got to run your route, and he does kind of brush the defender. And, Pickens is open. So, but it's not like a hugely impactful rub here. So it does look like the way that this play is designed is to get this guy open, and he's your primary guy. But I like the throw to this side, to the boundary side, because it's a shorter throw. And I wonder if this is why this was the first read on this play. Partially maybe because everybody knows Pickens is over here, but partially because this is the short side of the field. The ball, if you throw this to Pickens, the ball's going to be in the air a long time. Here, you got him, I like this being the first read. He's running a speed out. Toss it out there. He's got a good arm, but why need to get this to the long side of the field, get a shorter throw for you, get the 4 yards or 5 yards here, maybe even 6, and get your first down? I think so. It's not just a good throw, which it was, and we can see that here. Right on the line, great throw. And Austin did a really good job of dragging his feet here. But this is what you want from Fields, When he can run these simple pass concepts, it's 3rd and 4, gotta have it. Great. And like I said, love the decision going to the short side of the field for your first reads. The easier throw to make, ball gets there faster, first down. Keep the chains moving. So we're later on the same drive. We've now got 14 seconds to go in the second quarter. And the Steelers have a 2nd and 3 right around the 6 or 7 yard line of Denver. So the Steelers come out here in 12 personnel. Got 1 running back, and the 2 tight ends are right next to each other. And the Broncos look to be kind of man-to-man. He looks responsible for Freiermuth. He looks like he's responsible for Washington. He looks like he's got Warren. And then what often happens in these situations when you've got the kind of offset, guys kind of bunched together, frequently what defensive backs will do is this guy will take the guy who breaks to the outside, and this guy will take the guy who breaks to the inside. So the Steelers are running a route concept here where they send Freiermuth up to the goal line, and they're using Van Jefferson again to try to create a rub to get Pickens free. So what they do here is they have him like come up here, and they take Pickens out to the flat. And what it looks like to me, and correct me if I'm wrong, those who know more about this than I do, but it looks like the release from Pickens is important here, because it's so common here that you take the outside guy, you take the inside guy. Well, we know Pickens is going to be the outside guy. And so if he just breaks off while Jefferson curls, this guy probably takes Jefferson, this guy takes Pickens, and there's no real opportunity for a rub, right? But watch what Pickens does. Pickens releases toward the inside first, and Jefferson releases toward the outside first. So for them, then, you've got Jefferson, you've got Pickens, right? But then they're going to change, right? And so now you create the chance for the rub. So I think the release here is very important to try to mess with the coverage rules of the corners here. Him coming out initially and him coming in initially gets Pickens assigned to the inside guy, Jefferson assigned to the outside guy, and then as Pickens comes outside, the inside guy has to try to get outside. So if you watch, Jefferson comes up, and they end up calling this offensive pass interference as he gets in the way of Pickens' defender, and Pickens ends up scoring here, but it's nullified by the offensive pass interference call. I can understand the argument that, Steelers fans are making here that Van Jefferson was, he's running his route. He's trying to run a curl. But what I would say is all Jefferson has to do is just run into him. Like, run into your guy, because you've already got the rub. Like, he's done it here. What I don't understand, and what I think he got penalized for doing, is this move, this bit right here. Why did he go? You don't have to do this. Like, even if he doesn't contact this defender whatsoever, if he kind of comes over here and challenges the guy, like, Pickens is going to get a free release. He's already in the way. Even if this defender has to come around, like, he's done his job at this point. I think this little bit was unnecessary, and it's what led to the flag. Like, a lot of times you'll see people on rub routes not even make any contact. And it's just their presence that gets the defender to run around, and that's enough. I really believe that if Jefferson just takes this a little more to the outside and avoids that defender, Pickens is already kind of full tilt going. Like, I think that's a touchdown. And the defender, instead of being right there at this point, might be like right here. So, okay, maybe it's not like walk-in, but I like my chances with Pickens one-on-one here. He's definitely not going to stop Pickens from catching the ball. So I can see the argument on either side, but I can see why in real time, like, they ended up calling this pass interference. I just think if Jefferson, I think when you're going to use the argument that you're trying to run your route, I think you do have to at least show some degree of effort of trying to avoid the other defender, or at least not running right into him, even if that is part of your route. I think they do end up calling that. I wish it would. I really think it would have been effective if from this point, instead of coming up, Jefferson just comes like this and goes right into his defender. And I think they don't call this, and I think Pickens ends up getting into the end zone anyway. The other part of this play that's so interesting is it's really hard for me to believe that when catching the ball here, Pickens ended up in a situation where he had to dive for the pylon. Like, this is a very athletic person. It's hard for me to imagine that this all had to happen. Like, I feel like he probably could have stopped his momentum and just walked in here. But, Pickens is nothing if not exciting, and so he added a little degree of difficulty to my read. It doesn't look like all of that was necessary. But in any case, the play ended up being called back, and the drive ended with a field goal instead of a touchdown, and the Steelers went into half up 10-0. All right, at this point, we're approaching the halfway mark of the third quarter, and the Steelers remain up 10-0. The Broncos offense is now in a 3rd and 7 deep in their own territory, still not really having threatened moving the ball too much at this point. The Broncos look to be in 11 personnel, running back, and this looks like a tight end. And the Steelers look to be in like a dime formation, it seems like. Yeah, they're in dime, and the dime means that they have 6 defensive backs. So 1, 2, 3, and then these 3 right here, 4, 5, 6. Usually in dime, then, you're going to have 4 linemen, so they only have the 2 interior guys. We talked about how sometimes they bring in 3 in their base, and you only have 1 linebacker. So this is a pass defense situation here. You're going heavy on pass defense. And out of the dime, they look to run a cover 1 with KZ back and Fitzpatrick robbing. And the Broncos run, and we're really interested more on the left side of so they've got kind of a deep over here, and then they run what's called a dagger concept. So a dagger concept is essentially this guy in the slot runs a 9 route, runs straight. I guess they can run like a post too. The basic idea is that they're running down the field and clearing out the coverage for the outside guy to run a dig. And so if you have a safety that's got to stay over the top, that safety ends up having to back up quite a bit, and that leaves an underneath void for the dig route. So if we watch it here, you watch him come out and clear out KZ, and then watch Sutton come in on the dig route to make the dagger concept. Sutton also does a good job getting an inside release off the line here. He knows he's going inside eventually, so getting an inside release kind of puts him in good position to get open. And honestly, from the looks of it, you see right there, Joey Porter commits a fairly obvious holding penalty right there, which ended up being declined because Bo Nix completed this pass. But what it kind of looks like to me is Porter just got a little surprised by Sutton's acceleration. Sutton got him well with the release, and then Porter appears to have underestimated a little bit. He couldn't keep up with him. So he ended up having to hold. It looks like he was just surprised and got on that play. But that's a good route. I think it really is set up by this release. If you watch Sutton kind of breaking down here and then getting upfield quick. This is something that we talked about in the Chiefs-Bengals film review, is that Xavier Worthy has got to work on this a little bit. He really kind of struggles getting like a quick release, something that Rashee Rice did extremely well in the Chiefs-Bengals game. But this looks much more like a Rashee Rice release. Off the line quick and then getting vertical. It's not a lot of wasted steps like coming around. Once you get past him, get up the field and go. And that's what Sutton does here. Boom, get up the field. He's got inside leverage. Gets held still, able to get open for that and get a first down. It was a big 3rd down conversion for Denver just to get moving the ball, because that is not something they had done well in the first half whatsoever. Porter's a good corner, but, you get beat by good receivers sometimes, and Courtland Sutton's a good receiver. Here we've got from the end zone view, pretty good throw from Bo Nix. But you can see the end result, right, of the deep route is that you're kind of cleared out, and so there's a void in here. That's what the dagger concept is meant to do, create a void underneath where the quarterback can throw. And I do want to just, one thing I want to do is, this is kind of a long developing concept, right? You're looking for your receivers to really get down the field. And I'm just impressed with the motor on Cam Hayward. Like, this is an older interior lineman. How many times do you see situations where, like, 1,002, 1,003, 1,004, like, you're getting, like, around that 4-second mark, and he's shedding a blocker. Like, I feel like most interior linemen, when they are stoned at the line, they get kind of stood up and stuffed. Like, that's their rep, They're big guys, they get tired, and Cam Hayward just doesn't stop. Like, I've seen ends do this, like George Karlaftis does this on the Chiefs, but, I mean, this is pretty good out of a tackle. Like, look how long it takes him to win this rep, but he's still fighting to get to the quarterback at the end, and that's really high effort from an interior guy. All right, we're on the same drive here. So Denver has really managed to turn this into a substantial drive. We're now down to close to 6 minutes to go in the third quarter. Denver's still down 10-0, and they have got a 2nd and goal right around the Steelers' 6-yard line. So Denver comes out for this play, and they are in 11 personnel. No, that's not true. Number 20 over here looks to be... I feel like 20 is a running back. I mean, nowadays with numbers, you can't really tell, but this is probably 21 personnel. I mean, it doesn't look like a wideout. So, we've got 2 running backs and 1 wide receiver, 1 tight end, which gets you to 21 personnel. And then we've got 2 wide receivers over here on the left. Looks like Mims and Sutton right here. And the Steelers are going to play a cover 3 zone. So they've got Porter, KZ, I'm not sure how to pronounce that, and Corey Trice each have deep thirds. And what Denver ends up doing is they kind of run everyone underneath except for their wideouts. So if you look here, he kind of curls these guys. This is a 2nd down. He kind of comes out, and they have Mims kind of settle toward the middle of the end zone. So Mims is going to come up and settle, and Sutton is going to run a post. And with the Steelers, we said they're in a cover 3, and they're in their kind of base that we talked about with 3 interior guys, and then their 2 edges, and they actually drop T.J. Watt to help cover the flat. This Trice has got the deep third responsibility, so Watt's going to help cover the flat, and then we can kind of spread, and Elliott over here has got the flat as Porter goes back. So like we said, the route combinations, we've got him coming up, and he ends up going around. Mims settles in the middle of the end zone, and the guy that Bo Nix is looking for is Sutton on the post. So what really impresses me on this play is Corey Trice's awareness, because Trice is the guy who's responsible for this deep third, right? And he's looking, and the guy that's kind of running his route on his end is running a curl, and so he's short. So he initially kind of mirrors that curl route, and so there doesn't seem to be anyone coming into his zone, and he's got his eyes down underneath. But, and this is a young player, this is his first year playing regular minutes, he realizes that Sutton is going to run a route that's going to come deep in his zone. Look at Nix locked on Sutton here, and Trice sees what's going on, and so he drops in his zone. And Nix doesn't see him at all. What he sees is Sutton getting behind Kazee and running toward the end line, but Trice is watching this the whole way, drops into his zone, and intercepts the pass. I mean, this is not like what you'd expect from essentially a rookie, right? He was I don't remember if he was a late round pick or he might have even been undrafted last year, then got injured in camp and missed the whole year. And this is a young guy, and to have that awareness of not to just get caught up in, okay, look, nobody's coming back in my zone, everybody looks shallow, wait, there's a post route, go back and get it. That's good stuff. I think Steelers fans should be really hopeful about Trice. I think most people seem to already be high on his physical attributes. Even Chris mentioned that in our Monday podcast. But seeing him be able to play this mental game where he's understanding the route combinations and able to drop off and get to that post, that's a high-level play. That's really good from Trice. So here we've got the next play of the game after the Trice interception. The Steelers take over on the 20-yard line. And this is one thing that I also really like about what Arthur Smith does here running this offense is, sometimes when you get into a favorable situation, you just got to turn over and, sometimes just go for it, go for broke and see what happens. And he does a good job of dialing up shot plays and passing concepts out of these like heavy formations that look like run formations. And he does this again here. Now we've got 2 wide receivers on the field, and he's got 2 tight ends over here, and 1 running back. So it's 12 personnel, right? 1 running back, 2 tight ends, and the 2 wide receivers are lined up over here. And so he's going to run a play action concept, and because it looks like a heavy formation, so they're in man here, but if you look at it, they've only got 1 deep safety. The other safety has come up into the box to help protect against the run. So Smith has got him where he wanted. Runs play action, and he's very comfortable just sending a couple eligible receivers out. So he's got Jefferson coming up to the middle. That's a good idea for this route because you've got the single high safety that you want to kind of occupy so that you get your 9 route to Pickens, and he isn't over here. If the safety runs with Pickens, then you've got Jefferson in the middle of the field with a one-on-one coverage. Hopefully he can get open there. So a nice route combination. They get to Pickens, and the safety doesn't realize until pretty late that, this is probably going down the sideline. And that's probably a testament to Fields' eyes. We'll be able to see it better on the other view, but my guess is he's holding the safety with his eyes, because this safety right now doesn't even seem to be thinking about the boundary. But this is great, right? I mean, and this is what I want this out of Fields. Like, if you get single high coverage, throw it up to Pickens. Like, they have had a good connection through a couple games already. And he got this throw out there, and Patrick Surtain is called for pass interference, which I think is quite a legitimate call here. If you look at Surtain, you can see I know it's very small, but on Pickens, you can see the white of his glove like wrapped around him. You can also see that Surtain's head is facing toward the official and toward Pickens. He's not looking back for the ball. There's the hand wrap around right here, you can see. And then he plays through the receiver while trying to play the ball. Like in the NFL, if you have that much contact with a receiver on a pass down the field and you're not, the back of your helmet is facing the quarterback, they're going to call pass interference on that every time. So that one actually wasn't that controversial of a call to me. You can see here the play action, and they really only send 2 people out on a route. Jaylen Warren kind of leaks out late, but here's the play action. Fields sets, throws, and Surtain kind of plays through Pickens and interferes with the pass. Ends up being a big penalty. But I like this from Arthur Smith. Take a shot play, looks like a run formation. You've got the single high, so do a good job of occupying the single high safety with your route combination. Here he's driving, and it just leaves it wide open for Pickens. And for the final thing, let's just see if we can get a look at Fields' eyes, what he was doing, whether he was able to manipulate the safety. So here we are, Fields with the play action. Well, actually, he is looking over at Pickens. Yeah, he's kind of looking at Pickens all the way, so that's a rough one for the safety over there. Fields is not looking him off at all. He's looking over to Pickens and ends up throwing that way. So I guess the safety was just occupied by the fact that Jefferson was running right at him. But if you look at Fields' eyes, he's over here. He's kind of letting the safety know that's where he's going. In any case, the pass interference ends up moving the ball quite a bit downfield for the Steelers. And the drive ultimately ends in a field goal, which puts them up 13-0. All right, and this is our final play from the Week 2 film review of the Steelers at Broncos. This comes fairly early in the fourth quarter. The Broncos have the ball. They're still down 13-0. And the Steelers have them in a 4th and 6 situation. This was really a situation where the Steelers might have been able to really close the door on this game. The Broncos had one good drive to that point, which had ended at an interception in the end zone. If they kind of shut the door here and gave themselves a short field up 13-0 in the fourth quarter, probably would have saved a little bit of angst from the Steelers fans, but ended up with a win anyway. Let's see what happened on this 4th down play. So the Broncos here look to be in, they're empty. I don't know their personnel well enough. This might be a running back over here. So this could be 10 personnel where they are, they've got 1 running back and 0 tight ends. It's also possible that this fellow on the left is a tight end. I can't see his number very well, but maybe a tight end. In any case, it's either 10 or 11 personnel. These guys seem pretty clearly like receivers. So in any case, so we've got 4th and 6, and they're spread out regardless of what the situation is. And the Steelers are now in that situation where they've got the 2 interior guys and their 2 edges, so 4 linemen. They've got Patrick Queen, but again, they look to be in dime. This is 6 defensive backs. 3, 4, 5, 6. So they're really playing for a pass scenario. And what they look like they're doing, so we can run this once because the Broncos essentially run 4 verticals, which means they're got 1, 2, 3, 4, and then this guy comes in and runs a little curl. And the issue is that Josh Reynolds gets wide open, and it ends up being one of the easier 4th down conversions you'll see. So then the question being, what ended up happening on this play? Well, by my read of it, I think the person that is in error here is Corey Trice, which is unfortunate because we were just praising the mental side of the game, that he showed when he dropped back in the cover 3 to get an interception on a pass intended for Cortland Sutton in the end zone. But by my read, what the Steelers have called here is cover 1 with man underneath, and they're blitzing an extra guy. So what the responsibilities are on this play is got man-to-man here, man-to-man here, man-to-man, man-to-man, deep safety. And so Queen would normally be the robber here, and this guy would be manned on him. But what ends up happening is they blitz. And so Queen is mugged up here, but I believe the reason why he bails is he actually has to get over here to guard him. So let's watch Patrick Queen on this play. That's really what it looks to me like is happening. Is that Queen kind of bails out, but he's bailing to cover this guy. And why is he doing that? It's because this guy blitzes. So you watch that blitz there, and so Queen is replacing him from the blitz. And Trice, I believe, is supposed to be manned up right here. You see, here we have man. He's responsible for him. He's guarding him. He's guarding him. Got the deep safety. But if you look at the way Trice has dropped back, I think he just didn't know the call, or he misunderstood the call, because he's playing this like, almost like he has a deep half or a deep third responsibility, which nobody else is playing that way, right? Like, the reason why he's not manned up on his guy anymore is the throw has already happened. But see, everybody's kind of with their person except for Trice, who dropped all the way back as if he had a deep responsibility. So it feels to me like Corey Trice just didn't understand the call on this play. And unfortunately, that led to Josh Reynolds being wide open on a 4th down. You see Trice like bailing at the snap, as if he's got some deep responsibility. But nobody else is playing the same coverage that Trice is on this play. And Reynolds ends up being wide open and getting a 1st down. I think another way to kind of tell that something looks off is look at Queen looking at Trice, being like, what are you doing? And so is Dante Jackson. They're both looking at Trice like, hey, man, like, what was that? Come on. Even Minka at the very end here. I don't know if he's looking at Trice, actually. It's kind of hard to tell who he's looking at when he's doing that. But it's at least in that general direction. But yeah, to me, it looks like this was Corey Trice just bailing when he was supposed to play man. He seems to have misunderstood the call. We can see it here from this view. You'll get a good view of Queen replacing. So there's 84, who is the guy we maligned in the first clip today, where he had the unenviable task of blocking TJ Watt one-on-one on a run play and got destroyed, as most would. He was blitzing over here, and so it was on Queen to come back and replace. So we can see it here. Get Queen bailing over to replace. Reynolds is wide open because Trice has left him. And let's see the reaction. Yeah, see, you can see Queen is looking right at Trice. And like, hey, man. Minka actually is kind of looking over here. But it does look like Queen is chastising Trice there. I think he just missed the call. All right, well, that is it for the Week 2 film review of the Steelers at Broncos game. I appreciate you, those of you that have stuck with us through this. We will be doing film reviews for every Chiefs and Steelers game through the year. Additionally, we do put up clips of these reviews on social media at STCF 715, as well as some clips of the podcast that Chris and I do on Monday evenings, where we're recapping the week and kind of talking about general NFL topics each week and previewing the next Chiefs and Steelers game. You can find the podcast on this YouTube feed or on any podcast app you use. The podcast is called Steelers Thoughts and Chief Feelings. And you can follow along with us on our social media at STCF715 on Twitter, TikTok, and Instagram. Specifically on Twitter, we try to tweet through some of the games and especially tweet out some clips right after the games to discuss what happened. And we will post some clips from the podcast and from these film videos there. Again, I appreciate all of you that engage and comment. We'll continue on our podcast shouting out some of the comments every week. Thanks so much. We'll be back soon. Until next time.